It's time to talk through Monday's top news stories. Gyles and Sonia have joined us. Seems slightly at odds. You've got a penguin on your jumper and
With
it's snowing.
Can I say something seriously?
Yes, you may.
This is perfect English weather. Beautiful sunshine and breezy.
Oh,
so
yes.
You get the lovely bit of cool in the sunshine.
A cool breeze.
I'm wearing this for scientific reasons. You are what you wear. The lovely penguin, it suggests something cool. And actually, you see this, you feel a bit cooler. But also, and there is science, I've been discussing this with Dr. Zoe, there is science. Like a thermos flask, you put cold into it and it stays cold. Hot into it, it stays hot. Same with the jumper. I put this on in an air-conditioned room and the cool stays within me. We were both in Cheshire this weekend. I was at the Tarpley Carnival, blazing heat, wearing my jumper. I promise you, not a bead of perspiration.
You wore your jumper outside.
Outside this weekend.
Wow.
He is cool as a cucumber, though, Sonia.
Yeah, this is true. This is if anyone can carry it off, manifesting the cold, it's Gyles with his penguin
But that's
jumper.
the point. I'm manifesting cool. But the real secret of remaining cool in hot situations is to stay still.
I find it's to surround yourself with people that can keep you cool as well. So it's lucky that Sonia's alongside you. That's about it. Let's talk
I'm bringing the temperature right down.
One of the stories that we want to discuss is the heat. We're going to start with that story, seeing as we've been talking about that. It was another really scorching weekend, Sonia, which was wonderful if you can enjoy it, but equally can be difficult if you can't.
It's actually, hard to enjoy it, because this is the thing about this country. We're really not set up for temperatures in the early 30s. And it was interesting, I was in Cheshire this weekend as well, staying with my sister and my brother-in-law, and they were doing all of the official advice around keeping your house cool, which is keeping windows and curtains shut during the day, opening windows at night very early in the morning, and then literally everything goes into lockdown, which kind of creates this sort of weird when you're sort of stumbling around this kind of dark house. But it was amazing. It really did keep the house cooler than it otherwise would have been. But you really have to think about it, because we're not set up for it in this country.
No, and I think the point is that what we're saying, and the Energy Secretary Ed Miliband, with this weather we are facing, is Britain's way of life is under threat. The Met Office is saying the UK's climate is notably different from just a few decades ago, Gyles. This is the new normal we're hearing.
Yes, I mean, here he is to cheer us up, Ed Miliband, when I thought the government had changed gear and was actually going to be more cheerful about the future. He is literally saying to us, our British way of life is under threat. He is telling us extreme heat, droughts, flooding, we can see actually with our own eyes. And it is, I suppose, worrying, and he wants us to be worried about it. I'm of an older generation. I still, in hot weather, have a cup of tea. Yeah. And you'll find people of my vintage, your parents, I bet you, on a hot day, made a cup of tea.
But that is science too, because that's, they drink a lot of hot tea in India, and it's like eating hot, spicy food. It's actually proven to cool you down.
My mum always still talks about the summer of '76 when she was pregnant with me, and it was absolutely...
when you're pregnant, it's...
Can you imagine all the pregnant ladies out there?
But I think we'll talk about it, maybe our kids will talk about 2025, because it has just been extraordinary so far,
I mean, 3 heat waves so far this year, and I think Ed Miliband is right. I mean, I know we should be thinking positively, but it is worrying, because this level of climate change, and it's one thing over here when we had cooler temperatures to start off with, but in some parts of the world, it's going to become quite unsustainable for human life in sort of 30 or 40, 50 years' time.
But we are... I mean, I'm with you, and I think in a gradual way...
It is something we need to get grip on.
We must move towards what the science is telling us in a gradual way. But what is odd is that we are now getting in this country what we spent a fortune on going to the continent to get. People saved up for a year to go to Corfu or Spain or Italy or the South of France to get the weather that's... This, I think, is an incidental Brexit benefit. Continental weather, it seems, is coming to us.
You found the Brexit benefit.
We are getting European weather in this country, which is rather marvellous.
Yes.
Quite frankly, though, I would always take a temperature of 30 degrees by a beach with a little breeze, sitting there under your parasol, rather than being stuck in London where you're sweltering, no air conditioning anywhere, you can't cool your flat down.
Well, the Elizabeth line.
Sorry to bring the mood down again.
It's lovely.
Yes, very nice to get a little trade.
I don't live on
So put on your jumper, hot cup of tea, and go up and down the Elizabeth line. Stay cool.
You'll be sorted.
Well, there were 3 people who were enjoying the pleasant weather recently. They were sat on a balcony together. There have been pictures. Senior aides to the King and Prince Harry have been pictured together in London in what are being reported as secret peace talks. What do you think, Gyles?
Well, what is interesting is that one of these 3 people was a man called Tobin Andre, who is the communications secretary to His Majesty the King. He is the top man when it comes to communications as far as the senior royal family is concerned, and he's a tough cookie.
Okay.
He is tall, handsome, knows his stuff, and literally has the ear of the king. So if he was there, and if the other two people were indeed representatives of Prince Harry, the Sussexes, then it was a serious conversation. How it's got into the public domain, I don't know. That is intriguing, because essentially what the conversation seems to be about is that, of course, we need a reconciliation. Father and son want to get together. That would be normal of any family. These are the communications people. Let's see if we can make this happen. The worry has been that communications in the past have been leaked, and the king doesn't want to end up with more bad stuff about the relationship or more family stuff being dirty linen being washed in public. So this is the beginning, we hope, of some kind of rapprochement. But the very fact the first meeting, if this is the first meeting, is being leaked, is a bit worrying. Maybe it was just chance. Maybe because it was in the Royal Overseas League,
and it was
a private club, but they were on the balcony. And so from the park beyond, it could be that a passing paparazzi thought, oh, do I recognize it? But you wouldn't recognize these people because they're not well-known people and took the photograph. So who let it be known
maybe
this
the
meeting was
photographer
happening?
was tipped off, you see.
Yes,
but
exactly.
who
Well,
knows
you're a Journo,
by who,
you'll
and
know that.
You know, by which side? I mean, I think it's probably very unlikely to be the palace. I do think it's a good thing, and they're clearly very serious, as you say, Gyles. I think it's completely fair and reasonable there. Apparently, the king is very keen for a reunion, but on the condition that there isn't some of this negative briefing and attack lines on the palace out in the press. And I suspect that, you know, this conversation between the king's very senior communications advisor and then Harry's communications people, that's really to test if there can be some sort of rapprochement or agreement whereby, stuff doesn't end up in the press, and maybe there is a bit of a ceasefire in terms of some of this briefing. And I totally understand that, because I think it's very hard to come back together, and it must be very hurtful when you have got family members saying very negative things about each other in the press. I mean, that when you're washing all your laundry out like that in public, it's
Where's
very
the level
hurtful.
of trust if you don't know that it's going to stay within the circle?
The good news is it's confirmed today that Donald Trump, President of the United States, is coming on a state visit 16th, 17th of September, staying at Windsor Castle, and therefore he could solve everything in a day.
He could, as we know.
He could be the mediator.
He will be coming as a kind of US relate ambassador.
Yes.
He's going to pull the two sides together. He can do it.
If anybody can do it, he can make it great again.
Slight concern from some that there was no representatives from Prince William's camp, because, of course, he's integral to the three of them getting back together, no?
I think to be serious for a moment, as a father and grandfather, how sad can it be? The king is I'm exactly the same age as the king. The idea of not seeing my son, I mean, I'm tearing up all as I said, and grandchildren, it would be heartbreaking.
Yes,
Really
it
sad.
would.
So that, frankly, is at the heart of this, is that. So, I mean, I think the brother, let's solve the brothers.
And the king is
later.
the head of the family at the end of the day, so I imagine if talks were going to start,
Starts there.
it starts
and then
there, and then
follows.
And if they
hopefully
can make that
other
work,
people
then
would be
everyone
brought
else will
in.
come into line.
But I imagine, because of that, that father-son, that parental relationship, if you transgress as a child, you're always good. You always hope that there's a way back. Between siblings, it may be more difficult and it may take a bit longer. Who knows? But I suspect that relationship between the brothers may take a bit longer to heal anyway.
I wonder, when they do get back together and Prince Harry brings the grandchildren over, what games the king will play with the grandchildren. I'm slightly concerned, Gyles, that I Spy is no longer being played. Would the king bring it back?
Isn't it?
Well, happily, the king has a copy, I know, of a book compiled by me and my daughter of 365 games for the family to play. What's this tragic news, and this is bad news, is that people going on holidays, when maybe you as a girl, but certainly me as a little boy in the 90s,
We used to play
we
I
played
Spy.
I Spy and also the number plate game.
We love the number
we
plate
did
game.
that.
Oh, the number plate game. I think that's even better than I Spy, actually.
What happens?
It's
Remind people of the rules.
So you get 3 letters on a number plate, and you have to sort of. So if it was, GLG, for example, you would have to come up with a sentence, a 3-word sentence. So, for example, Gyles likes games.
Oh, that's clever. Very
Very
good.
good.
It's a
Oh.
smart bit of wordplay. So it's new research, isn't it, that parents are spending £336 per child on high-tech distractions, like your headphones, your tablets, gaming devices, rather than playing all those old games that we used to enjoy.
Or singing.
Oh,
Do you like to be beside the singing?
That's what we used to do. We used to do like the Beatles or Elvis or something, and Mum and Dad would put it on in the car.
And do it like a round, everyone's singing in the car.
Everybody sings as loud as they can, or even an audiobook sometimes we'd do as well.
Sharing in the car.
Yeah.
Oh,
The thing is that, because the thing is, we used to play these games when we were kids, but long car journeys were very boring. And I sort of feel like when you grew up in the 80s and 90s, like, you just had to... that was just part of being alive, right?
Yeah.
You sometimes had to do long car journeys when you were a kid, and they were really dull, and my parents would get sick of us saying, are we nearly there yet? Are we nearly there yet? But I think today, one of the issues is we live in an age where kids sometimes do expect to be continuously entertained, and they don't want to be bored, and then there are these devices that you can put in front of them that means that they aren't bored. So I can totally understand why parents do it.
We understand, but actually it's fun to play a game like Donkey. Do you know the game Donkey?
No, what's Donkey?
Spelling game.
No,
Four-letter words do not count, OK? The word has to be longer than 4 letters, and we go round a group, OK? You're on the front of the car, we're the children in the back, OK? So Daddy begins any letter of the alphabet. You've got to spell a game, and you mustn't be the person who ends the word.
Dangerous?
One letter.
You're thinking of that. You just give it the initial letter.
Oh, I see, D.
D. Follow it with any letter you like.
A.
R.
I don't understand this.
Well, you
L.
Yes, we're looking for a word.
I. N.
N.
G. I've lost. I've got to start the next game. That's the point. So,
The thing I like
it was
about
so
this
good.
game
So
is that if you're in a group, 3 of you can gang up on one
yes,
person.
exactly like that.
Gyles and Sonia are back with us to talk through more of today's top news stories.
Our next story, though, we're going to discuss the worrying surge in measles. Doctors are now urging parents to make sure their children are vaccinated following reports that a child has tragically died after contracting the virus. Dr. Zoe is with us now. This is a really worrying trend, Zoe.
It is. Even one death for measles is an absolute disaster because it's completely preventable. And our rates of uptake of the MMR vaccine in this country at the moment are too low. So the World Health Organization said we need 95% of children by the age of 5 to be vaccinated with 2 vaccinations to have that herd immunity so that we're all protected. In the UK at the moment, it's about 84%.
Right.
And in Liverpool, where this outbreak is, it's 73%. So it's far too low. There are lots of reasons why people don't come forward and have the MMR. A lot of it is around, busy working parents, finding the time, not knowing when, the logistics of it, as well as some people still having some concerns that we now actually know for certain that there are no concerns. The MMR vaccine is safe, and everybody should bring their child forward and have it if they're not up to date. And adults as well. If you're not up to date, if you haven't been vaccinated against measles, mumps and rubella, then you need to be vaccinated too.
And what symptoms should people look out for?
For measles, initially, for the first few days, it's cold-like symptoms. You then develop a rash a few days in, but the thing we look out for that tells us it's definitely measles is little white spots inside the cheeks and on the insides of the lips. But first few days, it tends to be cold, then the rash develops. But it's rare that people get complications, but those complications can be pneumonia, meningitis, it can lead to blindness, and in the most severe cases, like this really sad case, it can lead to death. And it's often people or children who have other illnesses and complications, or young babies under the age of 12 months who haven't had their vaccinations yet that are most at risk.
German measles was something when I was a child. Is it the same thing?
That's
measles?
rubella.
It's now called
so
rubella.
Measles, mumps and rubella.
So it's part of the jab, isn't it?
Part of the jab.
I think the concern will be, Zoe, and this would be interesting to get your thoughts on this as well, this fear of vaccination.
Yeah.
And that there are parents that are still worried. That report from 1998 has been completely discredited, that there was some sort of connection with the MMR jab. It's still causing fear today. The vaccinations post-COVID and everybody's worrying concerns about what all that led to as well. That undermines people's confidence, Sonia, in the vaccinations that are there. That can actually save lives.
It does, absolutely. And I think we're living in a world as well where there's a lot of social media misinformation, and we saw that, in the pandemic with misinformation flying around about really important vaccinations against COVID. So it is something that needs to be tackled. I mean, I think all that the public health community, that GPs like Zoe can do, is make sure that parents have got the right information from experts to counter some of that stuff that's running around online. But the problem is that once a rumour starts spreading online, and you're absolutely right, the MMR stuff dates back, 20, 25 years, once that genie is let out of the bottle, GPs and others have to work so hard to make sure that the right information is getting out there to parents. And at the end of the day, it's, the reason why we want the vaccination rate to be as high as 95% is that there's a small number of children who can't be vaccinated because they're immunocompromised. And so when vaccination rates drop down low, it's not just the children who, whose parents are holding them back perhaps from vaccination, who are unprotected, it's also the children who couldn't get the vaccination in the first place because, say, they're having cancer treatment. So it really does put a lot of people at risk.
Explain the concept of herd immunity. I don't quite understand that.
So if 95% of the population are vaccinated, then the virus can't transmit. There aren't enough people that it can infect for it to transmit. So essentially it means that everybody's protected, even those people that Sonia was rightly saying.
Herd.
We're all of us in the herd. And measles is one of the most contagious viruses that exists. So much more contagious than flu or COVID, for example. And I think you know what, people are right to ask questions.
Yes,
I don't think people should necessarily always, it's absolutely right to ask questions, but if it counts for anything, my child's fully vaccinated, and all my friends that are GPs and nurses, I don't know a single one of my friends and colleagues whose children are not fully vaccinated.
That's
so for
really
what it's
powerful.
worth.
Well, Zoe, thank you for joining us for that story. We'll let you sneak off again, and we'll carry on.
With something else equally as important.
Yes, but slightly unnerving at the same time.
What?
Chatbots. Oh, you've gone to pizzas.
I've gone to pizza.
I've gone to chatbots before we get to the pizzas. Let's do chatbots first.
Go on then, go on, you do chatbots, I'll do
apparently
pizzas.
35% of children are using chatbots like a friend, Gyles. Are you a fan of a chatbot?
I am a fan of a chatbot. I'm worried about this because people need people and children need, obviously, human contact, communication. And you can't outsource your relationship with your children to a machine. It's a shame. But we do at home, we play quiz games with the chatbot, asking questions and see if we can beat it with more interesting answers. So they can be good. And for older people, I do know, they can be good companions. They can get to know what the programmes are you like, and you say, oh, I don't know what to watch this evening, and the chat box will tell you, oh, well, last night you loved watching The Good Old Days, because they had one on with Ken Dodd last night. I'm just telling you about my own life, actually. And there's one on tonight with John Inman, so go to The Good Old Days, so they can communicate. But seriously, I don't think this is a very good thing.
I agree, because I think, so there's very little regulation around these chatbots and how they work. And what this story highlights is that it's 35% of all children, but 50% of vulnerable children are sort of seeing chatbots as friends. There's a small minority of children who are saying they're talking to chatbots because they don't have those friends in real life. They're probably quite isolated. And the problem is that we just don't know what these chatbots are saying to these kids. So we have heard of cases, for example, when with adults, you've had chatbots sort of groom adults into terrorism, for example. Now, that's clearly a very extreme example, but, we don't know exactly how these relationships are taking place. It's absolutely not the same as human contact for children. Yes, maybe for older people, it can kind of get round isolation, but I think we should be very worried about this when it comes to children. I think parents need to be keeping a close eye on it, but obviously if you're a parent, sometimes it's very difficult to know exactly what your child's doing online. We need more education in schools, and we definitely need to be making sure that some children aren't feeling so isolated that they think...
It's the only person they have to talk to.
That's terrible, isn't it?
But
Especially
it
when
does
they
happen.
have no life
I've had a
experience.
grandchild, I've heard it in the kitchen, saying to the television, play Peppa Pig, Peppa Pig, play Peppa Pig. And the television does respond. So it's the world we now live in.
Yes.
Getting the balance right is quite tricky.
Yes, getting the balance right and something else. How much pizza is too much pizza in a week?
No pizza is too much pizza.
Oh, you're a big
pizza.
fan.
I'm not a 3 times a week pizza person. Apparently, some people are.
Yes.
Apparently, there's a very tiny number of Brits who eat pizza every night.
So, well, apparently more than half of us have it 3 times a week.
Just tell me where this survey comes from, by the way. Can you just throw that in?
Was it Domino's?
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Pizza is good for you. Say Domino's.
See, no, they didn't say
Other
pizza was
companies.
good for you. They were just talking about people's pizza
How much
habits.
people love it.
Fairness to them.
And we do love a pizza.
I love a pizza.
Love it.
Pizzas have been around for a long time. We checked with Chatbots earlier.
Yes, we did. And the word pizza actually comes from the Latin verb to flatten. I forgot what it is. Is it pincere? Pincere, something like that. And basically, it started off as peasant food in Italy when people were too poor to have plates. They would just make their plate out of bread instead.
What's interesting is that what her Chatbox told her.
Yeah, what
I
did
was
yours
using a
say?
different one, which said it went back to 600 BC, and it was when the Greeks took it to Italy. But the point is, Naples is the home of the real pizza.
It's all in the water.
And I think a pizza is a wonderful and a useful food. We always have supermarket pizza, half a dozen in the freezer. So when
Ready to go for
children
grandkids.
can
Yes,
put it out,
really
10 minutes later, it's ready. Cut it up,
Could
slice
you
it for
have it
everybody.
every day, though, Gyles?
No.
No, variety is the spice of life. But if you like me, I like a varied pizza. I love pizza with pineapple topping.
I don't mind pineapple either.
you
I've
not?
gotta
No.
say. I know it's sacrilege for some
know.
people, but I...
It's sacrilege for the Italians.
I know.
Come round for one of our Hawaiian evenings.
Ooh.
Bring your grass skirt.
I will. I'll
and
bring
we'll
my
sort.
tropical shirt and we'll do it.
Can we have a pina colada as well?
Of course you can.
Excellent. All right, then I'm there too.
She's
Done
in.
and done.
Thank you both.
Thank
Lovely
you
to
for
see
visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.